we have an excellent question tonight, and that is about how do I find the right translation, or even better, how do I find the right Bible? If you've ever tried to get a new Bible yourself, you know there are incredible amounts of choices, and Bibles now vary by different translation. They also vary by who they're directed towards. We have Bibles that are written for all kinds of different demographics and groups in society. You can find a Bible for just about anybody, but does that mean it's the right Bible? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And to get started on that, we're going to talk about the difference between translation versus paraphrase. That's the first obstacle we have to overcome when we are looking for a new Bible. So what is a translation? A translation is what happens when you take an original text that is not written in the language that you read and write in, such as English, and are looking for the best translation into your language from the original language. So the Old Testament in the Christian Bible was written in Hebrew, and the New Testament was written in Greek. So those are two very distinctive languages that have to be translated into English in order for us to read it. Over the course of Christian history, we have improved our understanding of those original languages, especially once Christian scholars started to have productive conversations with Judaic scholars who helped us to better understand what the original Hebrew meant. So as time goes on, newer translations can be some of the best. The translation the United Methodist Church, by and large, has used in its seminaries, and which I use when I preach and teach, is called the NRSV, the New Revised Standard Version. There are many different translations. In fact, if you've grown up around the Baptist Church Society, then you're probably familiar with the King James Version, or even its updated version, the New King James Version. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with that translation. It does tend to use Old English, and it's not using the best academic or scholastic translation of the original Hebrew at times. So if you want it to be as close in English as you can get to what Jesus would have heard and read in the Old Testament and what the original apostles and disciples would have been speaking in the New Testament, then you're probably better off going with the New Revised Standard Version. That's clearly what I used in my undergraduate degree when I was at a purely secular program, and as well as what I used when I was at a United Methodist seminary. So the Bible that I used in my undergraduate studies is the New Revised Standard Version here. This Bible is called the New Oxford Annotated Bible. It's put out by Oxford, and this here happens to be the 4th edition. This one also has the Apocrypha in it, not that you not need to have that in there, but this one is the one that I actually keep at my house. This is very similar to the one that I preach from, except this one is leather-bound, gilded, and has the great tabs in the side that I highly recommend. They're not cheater tabs, they're functional. Read the Bible smart, get some tabs. So here, this Bible will have annotations in it, which means that if you were to open it, you'll find large chunks of text at the bottom that will go into detail about what you're reading. This one will also have small annotations here that will tell you that other authorities or other translations might have a different word. So if you're in a Bible study and not everybody is using the same Bible, this one might help to explain why there's divergence in the translation that you get. So that's one of the fun things about this Bible and why I recommend this one highly. The other Bible that I tend to recommend, and this is the one that we use in our youth ministry program, is the HarperCollins Study Bible. This one is also an NRSV, New Revised Standard Version, but it doesn't tend to be quite so scholastically dense in the annotations. It still has annotations, and it has opening essays that will help you to understand and get some background in the various books and the translations, but you can see that the annotations are shorter. They're not so incredibly difficult sometimes, but the great thing is if Jesus is referencing the prophet Isaiah, down here it'll tell you exactly where you can find that reference in the book of Isaiah. So it helps you to match exactly what's going on between the testaments. So this is always the Bible that I used to hand when someone walked into my office and said, I really need a new Bible. I would keep some of these on hand and hand them out freely and go, here, start with this one, because if you're going to have questions, this one's going to be easier to read. And so the last one I'm going to show you, this one's a rather nice looking one too. This is the Wesley Study Bible. It has notes in it from John Wesley, one of our founders. It has other academic annotations in it as well. It too is the New Revised Standard Version. So we're keeping all with the same translation, that same high accountability to the original Hebrew and Greek. This one, because it includes extra pieces from John Wesley, is a little bit more Methodist in flair, obviously. They're not putting these in every Presbyterian or Baptist church, but this is one that we did a group buy in my Bible study pre-COVID, and a lot of our Bible study members are using this one. There's no reason why you shouldn't get whatever Bible you want, but if it's important to you to have a Bible that is more consistent with what maybe you hear me read and preach or what you hear other people doing, you can never go wrong with the NRSV. Now, that being said, there are places where people have made translations that are not as strong scholastically. When it came down to choosing one or two words in English, what they ended up doing was going with the one that better reflects their theology. Sometimes there's some spiritual motivation for the word that they picked. The NRSV is not going to do that. It's not going to make the translation convenient. If Jesus says something that is alarming, then the NRSV is going to go with the most accurate word rather than the one that makes it easier for us to hear what Jesus said. I believe we're meant to wrestle with Scripture, so I don't have a problem with wrestling with that, but that's something that you need to be aware of. So some translations make it a little easier for us to chew on and swallow the text, and the NRSV is not going to make it easy, it's going to make it accurate, and so you have to do a little bit of work there. So a paraphrase means that I take the original text and then I put it into my language. That's not a translation, that's me kind of reshaping and retelling the story. So if you've ever been with a group of people and they say, hey, let's talk about what happened last week, and someone says, well, what happened last week? Somebody might say, let him tell the story because he's a better storyteller. Not that he's the most accurate, but that he's going to be able to tell it concisely. It might be more exciting when he tells it. And we just like the way he phrases things. So that's the difference between a translation and a paraphrase. It's somebody's own words retelling a story. A sermon is a paraphrase. Every Sunday I read from the original text, and then through the course of my sermon, I will retell the text in my own words, or I'll frame it with some stories. Those kinds of things are a paraphrase. I'm not trying to change the meaning, but I'm trying to retell it in another way so that it might be more impactful when you heard it, but I don't get to just take away the original text. So there is a paraphrase that a lot of people read, and that is called the Message. And it's fine to read the Message. There's nothing wrong with reading the Message, but you just need to be aware that that is a paraphrase. It is not a translation. In fact, it's a paraphrase of a translation. So instead of going from Hebrew to English, you've gone from Hebrew to English to somebody else's understanding of the text. So you're just a little bit further separated. The fun thing about reading it is that sometimes you get to see another way of understanding the entire Bible. Your only Bible should not be a paraphrase, but it's fine to have a paraphrase. In fact, if you really want to take your scripture reading to the next level, it's a great idea to have more than one Bible and look at how they're written and what people are saying. And to me, the best part is reading the annotations and the commentary. What are people saying differently there? Because different communities read texts differently. And you can also take the same Bible and then go out and buy different commentaries. There are commentaries that are written by women versus men. There are commentaries that are written from people outside of the United States because people outside of the United States read the text differently. You can get commentaries written from people who are battling disabilities, people who have experienced incredible loss and violence and wars. You can read commentaries from all kinds of people that are recognizing the lens that they bring to the discussion. So if you look through my glasses, they're not going to be the same as looking through your own. And it just gives us a fuller look at the text. There are a lot of other reasons that we should continue to look for new ways of understanding the scripture. Sometimes we read a Bible for so long, it almost just becomes rote. But then when we pause and get a new translation or we read a new commentary, it just revives the text for us, which is one of the great reasons that in the Methodist Church with itinerancy, I'm not going to preach the only Bible you ever hear. Eventually there'll be somebody else and you'll get to hear things in a new way. So we get to have that same benefit by reading commentaries and reading other translations, or not even other translations, but other versions of the same translation with different annotations. So I hope that helps you get some ideas, and if you have any more questions, We would love to know. And you can always ask us in the church office, and we'd be happy to connect you with how to get any or all of these Bibles. Thank you for your question.